All right, ready to dive deep into the world of sewerage maintenance technicians. If you're prepping for an interview for this kind of role, this is for you. We'll be using RoleCatcher's awesome resources, by the way, to help you totally ace that interview. And, I gotta say, this job is way more interesting than I initially thought. It's like a mix of high-tech stuff and hands-on work, keeping our cities running, behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's true. There's a whole hidden world down there, and you'll get to use some pretty cool technology to explore it.
Okay, now that's way cooler than just plungers and pipes, right? But let's get down to what does a sewage maintenance technician actually DO every day?
Well, in a way, you're like a guardian of public health. You make sure all those crucial systems are working.
Because if they're not working, things can get, well, messy.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's jump into RoleCatcher's interview guide. They have 9 sample questions, so let's break those down. First one, what inspired you to become a sewage maintenance technician? Sounds kind of basic, but what's the interviewer really trying to figure out here?
They want to see if you're actually interested in the field, not just looking for any job.
Right, so how do you make your answer stand out? Like, what if you're totally new to this and haven't been obsessed with sewers your whole life?
It's totally fine. Just be honest. Talk about what got you interested. Maybe you love hands-on work or problem solving. Or, hey, even the fact that this job is super stable and in demand. Remember that 8% growth rate we mentioned?
Oh, yeah, that's pretty awesome. Okay, question 2. What experience do you have in sewerage maintenance? Time to show off, right?
Yeah. But be smart about it. Highlight anything relevant, even if it's not directly about sewers. Any plumbing experience. Worked with pipes or machines before. Those skills all connect.
So even with just training, you can still show you've got the skills. What about certifications? Should those be mentioned?
Definitely. Mentioning certifications or training shows you're serious about the job and ready to learn. Interviewers love that.
Good point. Okay, next is, how do you ensure safety while working in sewerage maintenance? This one seems pretty important with all the, potential hazards and stuff.
You're absolutely right. Safety is super important in this job. They want to know you'll keep yourself and everyone else safe.
So how do you get that across in your answer?
Be specific. Talk about things like wearing PPE, knowing those lockout, tagout procedures, and hazard communication stuff. Those are standards, so showing you know them is key.
Makes sense. It's not just saying I'm safe, it's showing, the actual safety measures.
Exactly. And hey, if anyone's not sure about lockout, tagout, it's basically a way to make sure machines are totally off and can't be turned on accidentally during repairs.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, question 4. What is your approach to troubleshooting and problem solving in sewerage maintenance? We're looking for a good thinker here, huh?
For sure. Explain how you'd figure out what's wrong, gather info, and come up with a plan. And don't forget to mention you're a team player, because you'll often be working with others.
So it's not just having the answers, it's how you get to them and working well with others.
Exactly. Now, question 5 is about staying up to date with the latest technologies in sewage maintenance. Might sound intimidating if you're new, but they just want to see that you're eager to learn and keep up with things.
So where do you even start to stay updated in this field? Like, what resources are out there?
Tons. You've got industry publications, organizations like the Water Environment Federation,
Right.
even online forums to connect with other pros and learn about the latest advancements.
Awesome. Those sound helpful. Attending conferences would be a big plus too, right?
Totally. Shows you're really engaged in professional development, which is super important in a field that's always changing.
All right, question 6. Can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a complex issue in sewage maintenance? Ah, the classic tell me about a time question.
This is your chance to shine. Pick a specific example that shows off those problem-solving skills, even if it's from a different job. Did you fix a leaky faucet at home? Figure out a workaround for a broken appliance? Relate it back to skills needed here, like figuring out the problem, analyzing stuff, and finding that solution.
So it's all about telling a story, but it doesn't have to be specifically about sewers. And what about using the STAR method? Would that help with structuring your answer?
Absolutely. The STAR method, that's situation, task, action, result, helps you lay out your experience in a clear and concise way. Interviewers love a well-structured answer.
Okay, feeling more confident already. Let's move on to question 7. How do you approach preventative maintenance in sewage systems? Sounds like they really want to avoid problems before they happen.
And for good reason. Preventative maintenance is key to keeping things running smoothly. It's way easier and cheaper to prevent a problem than fix a big mess later.
So what are some important things to mention in your answer?
Talk about regular inspections, cleaning routines, and why it's crucial to replace worn-out parts before they cause major headaches. Being detail-oriented and organized is really important here.
So it's not just about fixing things when they break. It's about staying ahead of the game.
Exactly. Now, question number 8 is a bit trickier. Can you describe a time when you had to work with a difficult coworker or supervisor in sewerage maintenance?
Yeah, that one feels a bit tough. Nobody really wants to talk about conflicts at work. So what's the interviewer really getting at with this one?
They're checking out your people skills and how you handle those tough situations. It's about showing you can stay professional even when things get a little rough.
So how do you answer this without making anyone look bad or sounding like you're always arguing with people?
Pick an example where you handled a difficult situation well. Focus on what you did to communicate clearly, find some common ground, and resolve the issue. Show them you're mature, diplomatic, and a good problem solver.
So even if the situation wasn't great, focus on how you handled it professionally.
Exactly. Okay, last one. How do you ensure that sewage systems are compliant with relevant regulations and standards? This might sound technical, but it's super important.
Yeah, I bet there are a ton of rules about sewer systems. How do you show you understand all that, especially if you're new to the field?
It's all about showing you get why compliance is so important and that you're ready to learn the details. Mention any certifications or training related to compliance. That's always helpful. You can also talk about how you stay informed about regulations, like checking for updates from agencies or attending those industry workshops we talked about.
So it's about showing what you know and that you're willing to stay up to date. We've covered a lot with these 9 questions, but before we talk about RoleCatcher's AI and how it can help you tailor your answers, let's take a quick look at the Career Guide's insights on career paths in this field.
Great idea. It's important not just to ace the interview, but to have a vision for your future in this career.
Exactly. So what are the different stages someone could go through as a sewage maintenance technician?
The career guide breaks it down into 3 main stages: entry-level, junior, and senior sewage maintenance technician.
Okay, let's break those down. What does an entry-level technician typically do?
At the entry level, you're mainly assisting those senior technicians, learning the ropes, getting those foundational skills down. Think of it like on-the-job training, but in the world of, sewers.
So lots of shadowing, taking notes, and maybe a few ew moments along the way.
You got it. You'll help with inspections, get some hands-on experience with those video cameras, and assist with basic maintenance tasks. Safety is super important at this stage, so there'll be lots of guidance and supervision. You're basically building a strong base and absorbing as much as you can.
It's like an apprenticeship then.
Exactly. Learning from the pros, getting real experience, and slowly taking on more and more.
So what happens when you move up to junior sewage maintenance technician? What changes there?
As a junior tech, you're stepping up, taking on more responsibility. You've mastered the basics, you're comfortable with all the equipment, and you're ready to handle those inspections solo. You'll be analyzing all that footage from the video cameras, spotting potential issues, and even doing more maintenance and repair work.
More freedom and a real chance to test those skills, huh?
Yeah. You're not just watching anymore, you're making decisions and taking action. You're also starting to collaborate more with senior techs, like on maintenance plans and even mentoring those entry-level folks. Leadership starts to come to play.
That sounds like a great way to hone your skills and step into a leadership role. Now, I'm picturing the seasoned pro, the senior sewage maintenance technician. What does their day look like?
That's where all that experience really pays off. You're the go-to expert, the leader of the team. Overseeing those complex inspections, coming up with and implementing those crucial maintenance plans, and tackling the toughest repair jobs. It's not just about fixing pipes anymore, it's about leading a team and keeping those essential systems running smoothly.
Wow, that's a lot of responsibility, but it also sounds super rewarding, knowing you're playing such a big part in keeping people safe and healthy.
Absolutely. It's a career path that offers both challenges and a deep sense of purpose.
Now, before we move on, I want to go back to something you mentioned before. Specialization. You said with extra training, someone could specialize in things like water treatment or environmental remediation. What's that like in real life?
It means going deeper into a specific area within sewerage maintenance, becoming a real expert in that area. For instance, you could focus on all the details of wastewater treatment plants, learning all about the processes and technology involved in cleaning and purifying water.
So you're not just maintaining the pipes, you're understanding the whole water treatment cycle.
Exactly. You could be an expert in the biological, chemical, and physical stuff that turns wastewater into clean water.
Wow, that's amazing. What about environmental remediation? What kind of specialization could someone pursue there?
In environmental remediation, you could focus on finding and dealing with environmental hazards related to sewer systems. This might involve things like figuring out if soil's contaminated, doing cleanup work, or figuring out strategies to prevent pollution in the future.
That sounds incredibly important, especially now with all the concerns about protecting the environment.
It is, and it shows how diverse the career paths are within sewage maintenance. It's not just one thing. There's room to grow, specialize, and really make a difference.
Okay, so we've talked about the career stages, the options for specializing, and the overall impact of this important job. It's clear that being a sewerage maintenance technician is way more than just a job. It's a career with real potential for growth, becoming an expert in your area, and feeling like you're doing something that matters.
You got it. And don't forget about the tech side of things. Remember those cool high-tech cameras we talked about earlier?
Oh yeah, those are impressive.
Well, those cameras, along with other advanced tools and software, are changing the way we inspect, maintain, and repair these systems.
That's so interesting. Can you give us some specific examples of how technology is being used in sewerage maintenance?
Sure. For instance, some systems use sonar tech to map out those underground pipelines. That way, technicians can spot potential problems before they turn into major disasters.
That's wild. It's like having X-ray vision for sewers.
Exactly. And some cities are even using robots to do inspections in those tight, confined spaces, much safer for the technicians.
Robots in the sewers. Sounds like something out of a movie.
It does, but it's becoming more and more common. Technology is making this job safer, more efficient, and better for the environment.
All right, I'm totally impressed with the tech involved here. Let's get back to RoleCatcher and how their AI can help our listeners prepare for their interviews. We touched on this a little before, but I'd love to hear more about the specific features that can help tailor answers and get personalized feedback.
That's a great idea. RoleCatcher's AI is like having a personal interview coach in your pocket.
Okay, I'm hooked. Tell me more about how it works.
Well, one of the coolest features is the AI-powered feedback tool. You type in your answers to practice questions, and the AI looks them over and gives you specific tips on things like clarity, how relevant your answer is, and even the tone you're using.
So it's not just about what you say, it's about how you say it.
Exactly. The AI can catch things you might not even notice, like using too much jargon or sounding unsure of yourself.
That's super helpful. It's like having another set of eyes and ears to help refine your answers and make sure you're presenting yourself in the best possible way.
Exactly. And here's the best part. RoleCatcher's AI tailors the feedback to the specific job you want.
Wait, really? How does it do that?
When you set up your profile on RoleCatcher, you put in info about your skills, experience, and the kinds of jobs you're interested in. The AI uses all that to look at job descriptions and figure out what skills and qualities those employers are looking for. Then, when you're practicing your answers, the feedback you get is tailored to those specific requirements.
That's amazing. It's like having a custom interview prep guide that's always up to date.
It is. And the best part, it's all powered by AI, so it's constantly learning and getting better.
All right, I'm convinced. AI for interview prep is the way to go. What other AI-powered features does RoleCatcher offer?
Another great one is the video practice tool. You can record yourself answering interview questions, just like the real deal, and the AI analyzes your video. It gives you feedback on things like your body language, how you're speaking, even your eye contact.
Wow, that's taking it to the next level. So it's not just what you say, but how you present yourself.
Exactly. Nonverbal communication is so important in an interview, and this tool helps you project confidence, enthusiasm, and that you're a professional.
I'm seriously impressed. I think everyone should be using RoleCatcher's AI for interview prep, no matter what kind of job they're going for.
I agree. It's an awesome resource. It can really make a difference in how you present yourself and your skills to potential employers.
Okay, so we've covered the interview questions, the career paths, and the amazing AI features that RoleCatcher has to offer. But before we finish up, I want to touch on one more thing from the career guide. Hands-on experience.
Oh, that's so important. Practical experience is key in this field, and the career guide has some great suggestions for getting that experience, even if you're brand new.
What do they suggest?
One thing they recommend is looking for internships with local sewerage maintenance companies or public utilities. Even if it's unpaid, the experience is invaluable.
So it's a chance to get your foot in the door, learn from the pros, and build your resume.
Exactly. And don't underestimate volunteering.
Volunteering for sewer maintenance.
You'd be surprised there are actually community projects where you can help with sewer system maintenance or cleanup. It's a great way to show you're proactive, learn from people with experience, and give back to your community.
That's a fantastic idea. Shows you're really passionate about this.
It does. And you never know, you might even meet some people who can help you find a job later on.
All right, I'm adding volunteer for sewer maintenance to my list. Now, what about people who already have experience in similar fields, like plumbing or construction? How can they use that experience to really stand out in an interview for a sewage maintenance technician job?
Great question. The key is to show off those transferable skills you've gained from your past work. For example, if you were a plumber, you can talk about your knowledge of pipe systems, your troubleshooting abilities, and your experience working with all the tools and equipment.
So even if it's not directly sewer-related, you can connect the dots and show how those skills apply.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to get specific. Talk about the types of projects you worked on, the problems you faced, and how you solved them. The more details, the better.
It's all about showing what you can do and how your past experience has prepared you for this role.
Exactly. And remember, the career guide also talks about how important continuing education and professional development are in this field.
That's right. We mentioned some of those resources earlier, like those industry publications and professional organizations. What are some other ways to stay ahead of the curve in this field?
Going to conferences and workshops is a great way to learn about new tech, connect with other professionals, and keep up with the latest trends.
That sounds like a great investment in your career.
It is. And lots of employers offer programs to help pay for classes or encourage their employees to get professional certifications.
That's a great perk to look for when you're checking out potential employers. Okay, we've covered so much today. We've looked at what it means to be a sewerage maintenance technician, from the everyday tasks to the exciting career possibilities.
We tackled those tough interview questions, giving you some advice and explaining what the interviewer is really looking for.
And we dove into RoleCatcher's incredible AI features and all the resources they have to help you every step of the way.
Remember, it's all about being prepared, feeling confident, and showing off your skills and your passion for this job.
Exactly. Now that you've got all this knowledge, it's time to put it to use. Go out there, ace that interview, and start your amazing career as a sewage maintenance technician.
And as you start this journey, think about the bigger picture. How does making sure we have clean water systems connect to bigger issues like sustainability and public health?
That's a great question to think about.
It is, because ultimately, your work as a sewage maintenance technician isn't just about fixing pipes, it's about contributing to a healthier, more sustainable future for everyone.
That's a great way to put it. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the world of sewage maintenance technicians. Huge thanks to RoleCatcher for all these awesome resources, and to you, our listener, for joining us on this journey.
We encourage you to explore RoleCatcher's platform and think about the positive impact you can have in this essential field.
Until next time, keep learning and stay curious.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you think about it. A job that some people might think is, well, kind of gross, is actually so important for all of us. It really is. We tend to forget about clean water until, something goes wrong.
Exactly. And that's why sewage maintenance technicians are so important. They're the ones keeping everything running smoothly, protecting our health and the environment, even if we don't always see it.
You got it. They're the ones making sure we have clean water, which we need for everything: drinking, sanitation, even agriculture and industry.
Going through all this stuff from RoleCatcher has given me a whole new appreciation for this job. It's not just a job, it's a vital service that affects everyone.
I agree. And I hope anyone listening who's thinking about this career can feel that same sense of purpose.
Me too. So, to wrap things up, what are some final words of advice for our future sewage maintenance technicians as they get ready for this exciting career?
Well, the most important thing is to never stop learning. This field is always changing, with new technology and techniques popping up all the time. Stay curious, stay informed, and take advantage of those opportunities to keep learning.
That's great advice for any career, really, but especially one where technology is so important.
Exactly. Speaking of which, don't be afraid to embrace that new technology. Like we talked about, there are so many cool tools that are making this job safer, more efficient, and better for the environment.
Right, all those high-tech cameras and robots. It's amazing how much things have changed.
For anyone just starting out, my advice would be find a mentor, someone who's been in the industry for a while, someone who can share their knowledge and experience with you.
Having a good mentor makes a huge difference, not just for learning the basics, but also for navigating the ups and downs of this career.
Totally agree. And don't be shy about asking questions. The more you ask, the more you learn.
That's so true. Curiosity is key. Now, We talked about safety earlier, but what are some specific hazards someone new to this field should be aware of?
Good question. Sewer systems have a lot of potential hazards, like confined spaces, dangerous gases, and exposure to things like bacteria and viruses. You always have to follow safety procedures, wear the right protective gear, and never hesitate to ask questions or speak up if something doesn't feel safe.
It's so important to always put safety first.
Absolutely. And I think it's worth remembering that this job can be physically tough. You'll be working outside in all kinds of weather, lifting heavy things, and moving around in tight spaces.
So being in good shape definitely helps.
It does. But at the end of the day, this job is incredibly rewarding. You're making a difference in people's lives and contributing to a healthier community.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So to our listeners who are considering this career path, we wish you the best of luck in your interviews and in your future as sewerage maintenance technicians.
Go make a difference. And remember, you've got this.
And that wraps up our deep dive into the world of sewerage maintenance technicians. We hope you found it informative, inspiring, and maybe even a little bit fun.
Big thanks to RoleCatcher for these amazing resources, and to you, our listener, for joining us.
Until next time, stay curious and never stop learning.